Welcome back to what I can only imagine is the highly anticipated return of FBU Huddle. You have not seen us since before the FBU National Championship. As always, I am here with my partner in crime, Joe Buffard. Joe, how you doing tonight?
Matt, it is great to see you again, my friend. It has been a while since we took a little hiatus after the break, after that fantastic week in Naples, Florida, with the exciting Freshman All-American Bowl game, our 3 national champions. So now what are we doing in the springtime, Matt? What's going on now with FBU?
Well, look, it was a Southeast takeover for, Naples, Florida Championship week, but we got camp season, Joe, and there is no better person, no better company, no better service in the country to talk about football camps and recruiting when it comes to high school student athletes. Tonight, we welcome to the show Andrew Ivins. Andrew, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. My throat's a little parched right here. Hopefully I don't stumble through my words. No, I'm doing good, guys. Was at the FBU, I guess part of the week I was there. That was my first real experience at the FBU Freshman All-American game, but man, that was awesome. I feel like I'm writing about some of the kids that were in that game pretty much every week now. So I'm doing good, man. Ready to get camps going.
I love it. Yeah, we loved having you down there for championship week in Naples, Florida. Saw you out there at the Future Showcase, checking out some of the up-and-coming middle school student athletes before the main course that night, the FBU Freshman All-American Bowl. But, Andrew, for the people that are tuned in tonight, some student athletes that are interested in coming to our camps, why don't you give everybody just a little bit of background, who you are, how you got started with 247 Sports and where you got and how you got there today?
Well, I didn't play college football. I'm not some former college football athlete, but I'm a guy who has loved recruiting really since I was young. I think I was like in 7th or 8th grade when I asked my dad for a subscription to rivals.com just because I loved kind of following the whole talent accusation. I couldn't get enough of it. They used to make magazines where you could see where everyone was ranked in a certain year. And I just love that stuff. And which 4-star this school is going to get, which 5-star that school is going to get. So that's where this all started. And then I went off to school. I didn't really know what I was going to study. Went to Florida Atlantic, had no intentions of doing anything in the media world, but stumbled into journalism, got a degree in multimedia journalism, kind of covered some college football there, graduated, worked for the Sun Sentinel, which is the newspaper in Fort Lauderdale. Did a little recruiting then and there. Ended up taking a job in North Carolina where I was writing about high school sports. And then someone said, "Hey, would you like to come cover recruiting?" And I said, "Hey, let's do it." And then eventually, fast forward, worked for Rivals, covered Notre Dame, covered Miami for 247 Sports, and now I'm here and I'm an analyst.
Well, I think that journey has brought you to the right place. I mean, those are some powerhouse schools that you mentioned, but you're at the powerhouse recruiting and scouting service in the entire country. And obviously there's a lot going on right now with the NCAA. And Joe, I know we were talking offline about this, the impact of the dead period, the NIL. I mean, certainly there's got to be some questions for Andrew regarding that, right?
Oh, I think so. I think a lot of our student athletes are going to want to know, I think it even came out this morning that NCAA had moved the dead period back to May 31st. Andrew, tell our student athletes kind of, what does that do if you're a 2022, 2023 kid that was anticipating to do some spring visits, to go to some of these spring showcases, one-day camps for the colleges. What's the impact that this keep moving the needle on the calendar date, if you will, on this dead period ending?
Well, it sucks. I mean, there's only really one word you need for it. When this whole pandemic thing happened and we saw that temporary recruiting dead period go into place, and what is a dead period? I mean, that means there's no face-to-face interaction between prospective student athlete, of any age and a college coach. There's none of that. You can't go to a school's campus and meet face-to-face with a coach. They can't come see you play. Now you can talk electronically, you can visit, just like this, what we're doing in a meeting online. You can do all that, but you can't get that handshake, or the coach can't come see you practice, and you can't go camp somewhere in the summer. So when this all went into place, we're like, man, the class of 2021 is really going to be impacted by this. And now the narrative in our industry at 247 Sports, in our group text and all this, we're saying that the class of 2022, so the guys that are just finished their junior seasons or are going to play a junior season this spring and then got a senior year, they're being affected by this temporary recruiting dead period being pushed back more than anyone else. I mean, think about it. A college coach has not had a chance to size up someone in over a year, almost 13 months. And I don't know. I mean, you guys know, like you take a 14, 15, 16-year-old, they could be 6'1", and then a year later they're 6'4". I mean, bodies transform; they grow like weeds. So it's really unfortunate that they keep moving this thing back. But I do think schools are getting creative. I talk probably more than ever to college coaches asking me, "Hey, is this kid really 6'1"? Is he 6'2"? Just because I have the opportunity to get out there and see these guys and kind of size them up. So it sucks, but I think we are adapting. And who's we? I mean, schools, recruiting industries, you guys, everyone's kind of adapting, trying to make this thing work, but definitely unfortunate. And, who knows when they'll open this thing back up, but it sucks that they just kind of made this decision now as opposed to closer to April when they were thinking about opening it up.
Yeah, no doubt it puts a challenge on these young athletes and their families, in one of the biggest decisions of their lives, so to speak. How is it impacting you guys at 24/7 when it comes to the ranking and evaluation? I mean, you guys are always boots on the ground across all these different events, 7-on-7 tournaments, showcases, the FBU camp, stuff like that. How is it? And some of these kids have film, some don't, based on what they were able to do this year. How has it impacted you guys as analysts to really, truly compare, athletes where you can easily look at competition, level of competition, things like that?
I feel like, and I'm not some rankings veteran. Like I haven't been doing this my whole life. I mean, I'm only, 29 years old, but I feel like we have sunk our teeth more into kids than ever before. I mean, the way we at 247 Sports kind of have this thing divided up, guys have different regions. So I'll be in the Southeast. I have colleagues in Texas and out in California. And every week we are splitting up position groups, whether that be in the class of 2022, class of 2023, and we're kind of diving through them, having guys kind of cross-check each other and watch that film. And everyone thinks, oh, it's just my highlight tape, or, oh, we see you at a camp and that's what we kind of base our evaluation on. And that's completely false. What I tell someone is from the first time someone at 247 Sports sees you, that starts the clock, right? And your ranking is going to go up to the day you sign a national letter of intent. And now at the early signing period, it's even past that if you play in one of these premier all-star games. So it's made it difficult, but we're kind of leaning on resources more than ever. Any data we can come across, whether it's a verified measurement, a verified time, we're checking that. We're bouncing stuff off college contacts. Hey, what do you guys think about this kid? Hey, we see this kid. And then anytime we can get out and actually lay eyes on someone, it's so important. And, there'll be plenty of people on social media that love to point out, oh, what can you really get out of a guy running around in shirts and shorts? And yeah, it's not padded game, but man, you can see how someone moves around, how they interact, how they compete. And really, when you get a bunch of elite athletes in the same area, it's awesome because you can quickly figure out and kind of separate these guys. Hey, this guy's better than this guy. And, it's a long process. It's been difficult, but we're adjusting and adapting.
Well, and that's one of the benefits of coming to FBU camps is now you're going to be able to see some of these kids, these elite athletes kind of compete and really size them up. And that's why we're excited to have you guys, as our kind of official partner when it comes to these things. Shifting gears a little bit, we talk about the college landscape, something that's been on the mark and on the topic of conversation that obviously has been pushed aside with the pandemic via we're barely going to get a season with college football, and then now with the recruiting stuff. But 2021 was supposed to be the year that athletes were going to benefit from the NIL, the name, image, and likeness. What have you heard or are familiar with that at all? And what do you feel is that being pushed again a little bit more, or is that going to be coming to fruition?
Well, I think this is coming. I mean, I'm not as versed in it as, some of these guys out here. I follow people on social media that are experts. I mean, I think there's people that are going to carve out roles in this name, image, and likeness. And, my big message, and anytime I talk to a guy that I'd consider a budding star, someone that's going to go to one of these Power 5 schools and, start marketing yourself now. Like if you are a junior, or a senior, I mean, you can build your brand. Like, if you think if you're struggling up front just talking with a reporter, and don't get me wrong, most kids do. The first time we interview them, they're like, "Well, what is going on?" But you got to get good on that. If you want to make money, you're going to get to that next level, and you're going to have to do stuff like that. You're going to be presented with opportunities from companies and businesses at whatever school you're at, and it doesn't even have to be that huge Power 5 school. I mean, there's 2 girls that play basketball at Fresno State. For some reason, like I've seen a few of their vlogs or whatnot on YouTube. They get 50,000 views on YouTube. They've just branded themselves from the start. And guess what? They're going to have the chance to endorse products, and people are going to make money off them. So that's my thing. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs. I know Florida's a little ahead of the curve, but it's going to be a nationwide thing. And my big message to young athletes is be careful of what you're posting on social media, and just realize everything is a branding opportunity. You know, if you have that first offer, make sure, you know, whether it's on Twitter, on Instagram, you're treating it professional. Those bios, you know, it should be your name, where you go to school. You know, don't lie about your height and weight, man. We're going to figure it out. If you say you're 6'4", I show up and you're 6'2", then you're going to get a red flag up. But yeah, man, I think not enough student athletes are taking that into account. And you know, that even applies to the parents, man. Like, get involved now and kind of figure out a plan, because who knows, you know, where you're going to end up and what opportunities are going to present themselves.
Well, to that point, we here at FBU have put together an entire curriculum just to do that, to help student athletes build their personal brand, starting as early as freshman year through our new brand university program we're rolling out this year at our camps. And it's to do exactly what you said, is to help the kids, to teach them how to properly build their brand, interact with media, interact with social media, because I know the NAIA has already put this into fruition, and there are some student athletes that have capitalized on their brand and making some money on it from that standpoint. So that's great insight on how to do it. So let's bring Matt back in and start chatting up a little bit more about what's going on this coming season.
Well, I mean, I think Andrew teed up brand you better than anybody else ever could, just talking about the importance of branding. I mean, man, what a segue into that. But no, look, Andrew, you were saying something when you were talking about all the testing, all the events, the impact that, you know, this extended dead period is having on student athletes. The one thing I heard from that was the importance of verified times. And there's a difference, right, between just going to an event and getting a laser timed 40 versus having an actual verified time. Now, we may know that, but there's a lot of student athletes, a lot of parents out there that don't necessarily understand the difference between going to an event, getting a laser time 40, and actually having a verified result. Can you kind of shed some insight to our viewers about what that difference is?
Well, I mean, I guess when we talk verified results, that's something that's been verified by a service, right? You know, whatever service it is, you know, they're not selling that. I mean, but that information is getting out there to the right people that need to see it. You know, you can go to some random camp and run a 40-yard dash on the lasers, and they can write it on a piece of paper. I mean, I've seen plenty of those, but you know, that's not all that legitimate. And that's why it's important, I think, to get verified times. And, you know, I see it all the time. You know, we just had a rankings call the other day, and we're talking about how some kid ran, I think it was like a 4.6 or a 4.7, and we were knocking him for the time. And I said, hey guys, you know, this was the 5th fastest time at the camp. I mean, we're also trained to watching the NFL Combine, where these guys are ripping off 4.2s and all that stuff. That, you know, even if you don't think that time is maybe the best time out there, I mean, it's still absolutely is so important to get those verified times. And really, I think another thing that's important is just verified measurements. You know, you got a big wingspan. Like we want to know that information. And I know if I want to know that information, then college coaches are going to want to know that information. So all that stuff is super important.
And there's only so many events out there where you can actually get those verified results, those verified times. So, you know, parents, student athletes that are watching this interview, just be cautious of that. And we even talked about this last year with Rusty. When you see, you know, the 247Sports logo on a camp flyer or a showcase flyer, that doesn't mean that they're actually going to be there or that they have an affiliation with them. So call them. Yeah, call the camp. That happens to you all the time, Andrew. You probably see your logo on there, and you're like, we're not going to be there.
I was at some camp the other day, and I went out to my car to leave, and someone had put a flyer on our car, and it had the 247 Sports logo. I'm like, I've never even heard of this in my life. Like, we're not going to be there. So yeah, absolutely. I think you definitely got to, use your money wisely. Don't just think that someone's going to get your name out there.
100%. So Andrew, kind of beginning to finish up here, tell the viewers a little bit your experience down in Naples this past year. One of your first FBU events at the Future Showcase. Obviously, we've had Rusty and Steve Wolfong and Barton at some of our events in the past, but this was kind of your first taste of the FBU family of events. Tell people a little bit about the Future Showcase and what you saw down there.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think I was out there for, maybe it was Top Gun back in, what was that, June or July?
Yep.
And, Eric and Steve had invited me over, and that was my first, ever time at the Naples Paradise. You guys are going to kill me for
no, it's Paradise Coast Sports Complex. We got
Paradise. That's an awesome facility, and Steve had kind of sent me a few of these rosters, and I really didn't know what I was getting into, but I thought it was just an awesome event. Like I said, I have this roster. It's actually right here on my desk from that game, and it seems like every week I've been writing about kids who have gotten offers from that game. Some of them here in South Florida, right in my backyard. James Madison, wide receiver, I absolutely loved in that game. He picked up an offer from Florida State earlier this week, Miami yesterday. Tyler Aronson, a quarterback from West Palm Beach. Those guys are picking up offers. So, I thought it was great. The underclassmen showcase, or again, I'm butchering it. What is it exactly?
Yeah, the Future Showcase down there.
Future Showcase. That was awesome as well. I thought, in terms of having been to a variety of camps and combines, it was efficient. Kids got reps, and there was all that verified testing. So no, it was an awesome time. It's done really, really well.
So what are you looking forward to? Now that you've seen the taste from Top Gun last year and the Future Showcase this past December, both of which are events where if you attend an FBU regional camp, you can get invited to, right? So it's kind of the next layer. But now you're kind of coming to the core of what we do, right? The original place where we find student athletes. You're going to be at a lot of these camps coming up starting March 6th in San Antonio. So tell people a little bit about what you're looking forward to in terms of what you're going to see at our camps.
I'm looking to see, like you said, find the next guys. You guys are trying to find them. I'm trying to find them as well. I'm trying to tell you, hey, get this guy in, your showcase or your All-American game at some point down the line. I mean, again, like I said, evaluations start as soon as we lay eyes on someone, and the more information we can get on a kid, or the more evaluations, whether that be at a camp, whether that be, at a game, it's just so important. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Like I said, everyone kind of knocks shirts and shorts and stuff like that, but I think it's so important. They wouldn't be doing it at the next level with privatized workouts and combines and stuff like that if those data points and intel didn't matter. So I'm really looking forward to just finding the next baller. That's the next dude. I want to find those guys.
Well, we're going to have plenty of ballers and dudes for you at the FBU camps that 247 Sports is covering this offseason. We're going to be in 38 cities in 2021, from California to Boston. We're going to be at them all. Andrew and his team will be there, identifying the top performing high school student athletes, creating some official recruiting profiles for those young men, which is such a valuable commodity. Looking for some of the middle school future stars to watch, and really riding those fantastic camp recaps that you see on 24 Sports' website after every big event. So, Andrew, we look forward to seeing you at the very first event and all throughout 2021. I know Joe is super excited that you approved his power of branding. That's what we believe in here at FBU. But thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you this offseason.
I look forward to it, guys. Thanks for having me on.